Let's talk about something that's disappearing off store shelves right now. Not in some far-off collapse scenario. Not next year. This week, at your neighborhood Walmart. I've been at this since 2014, and here's the number one mistake I watch people make over and over. They blow their budget on tactical-looking junk while completely skipping the boring, unglamorous stuff that actually keeps a household running. Here's the reality check nobody wants to hear. 2026 has quiet shortages baked in already. Droughts, tariffs, supply chains that keep snapping under pressure. And if you're not stocking these 13-plus items in bulk, you're gambling with your family's safety net. And item number 7? It's not food. It's not medicine. It's something almost nobody thinks to stockpile. But when things get rough, it's the kind of thing that either keeps you alive or becomes valuable enough to trade. Keep watching. This is going to change how you think about buying in bulk. Look, I get it. After 2020, everybody thinks they've got their act together. But real preparedness has nothing to do with looking like a movie extra. It's about actually thinking 2 steps ahead. Last year, I sat down and logged every receipt, every price jump, every empty shelf I walked past. What did I find? Everyday staples climbed about 19% on average. But the stuff nobody pays attention to? Some of it flat out doubled. And this year is shaping up worse. India is clamping down on rice exports again. The Panama Canal is still a bottleneck. Drought is wrecking crops across the Midwest. And yet most preppers are still buying the exact same 10 things. Rice, beans, toilet paper, completely blind to the real gaps that take people down. Nutrient deficiencies, medical shortfalls, and nothing worth trading when it counts. So I did the digging. Pulled USDA data, dug through survival forums, cross-checked wholesale pricing, talked to ranchers, thrift shop owners, and people who study water systems for a living. What came out of that research were 13-plus items that almost nobody's stockpiling, items that are cheaper in bulk, last 5 years or longer, and pulled double or triple duty in a real emergency. Just by swapping these into my routine, I cut over $2,200 out of my spending in the last 12 months. That's not fear-mongering, that's math. Real savings, real security. So stop scrolling, grab a pen, let's get into it. 1 baking soda. Forget cookies. Forget the little box sitting in your fridge absorbing smells. This unassuming white powder might be the single most versatile item you can put on a shelf, and it costs next to nothing if you buy it the right way. Baking soda isn't a kitchen ingredient that occasionally pulls extra duty. It's a genuine multi-tool for survival. Worried about sketchy water? Half a teaspoon per gallon neutralizes chlorine, some heavy metals, and acidic contamination. Dealing with heartburn or stomach trouble brought on by stress eating your emergency rations? It works as an instant antacid, no pharmacy trip required. Grease fire flaring up on your camp stove? A handful smothers it instantly, no fire extinguisher needed. And it doesn't stop there. Scrub your pots with it, brush your teeth with it when the toothpaste runs dry, or use it as a foot soak during a multi-day evacuation. During the East Palestine chemical spill back in 2023, families who had bulk baking soda on hand were able to neutralize airborne contaminants inside their homes and rinse exposed skin, while everyone else sat around waiting for official help to show up. Buy it smart. A 25-pound food-grade bucket runs about $18 through wholesale outlets like Azure Standard or Walmart's bulk section online. Buy the same amount in those little grocery store boxes and you're looking at over $120, a markup north of 500% for the exact same compound. Keep it airtight, cool, and dry, and it basically never goes bad. It takes up less room than a pair of sneakers, but covers water treatment, minor medical needs, fire safety, hygiene, and barter value all at once. This one isn't optional. Get at least 25 pounds. Do it now. 2.99% isopropyl alcohol. Skip the 70% stuff from the drugstore. That's watered down to pad profit margins, not to actually work better for you. What you want is 99% isopropyl, the concentrated medical-grade version that earns its keep when things go sideways. This isn't just for dabbing on a scraped knee. Think of it as a 3-in-1 survival liquid, disinfectant, fuel source, and electronics safe cleaner. Use it to clean grime out of water filters, wipe down radios, solar chargers, and medical tools without frying the circuitry. Soak gauze in it for antiseptic dressings when your antibiotic supply runs thin. And when the grid's been down for weeks, it burns cleanly in an alcohol stove. No smoke, no smell. Which matters a lot if you're trying not to draw attention in a city environment. In 2024, hospital supply chains cracked again, and pharmacies started rationing alcohol wipes. People who'd already stocked gallons of the stuff didn't blink. A gallon jug from a lab or janitorial supplier runs $10 to $12. Buy the same total volume in tiny drugstore bottles, and you're paying north of $40. Triple the price for identical chemistry. Storage is easy. Amber HTP containers, kept away from heat and sunlight. Sealed properly, it holds its potency for a decade or more with zero degradation. And here's a trick most people never think of. Mix it 50-50 with distilled water, add a drop of glycerin, and you've got a hospital-grade hand sanitizer that actually kills what it's supposed to kill, unlike the scented goop sold at big box stores. 3 bar soap plain, unscented, glycerin-based, not liquid, not moisturizing, not wrapped in 3 layers of plastic. You want the hard white bars, the kind restaurants and hospitals order by the case. Why does this matter? Because liquid soap fails you exactly when you need it most. It freezes in winter, separates in summer heat, and starts growing bacteria the moment the bottle's opened. Bar soap doesn't have any of those problems. It lasts for decades, weighs almost nothing, and needs no packaging to speak of. Drop it in a puddle for a week, it'll still lather. Toss it in a damp bag for years, it'll go hard as a rock, but still work fine. During the 2024 Vermont flooding, households that had bar soap stocked up stayed clean while their neighbors ran completely out of hand-washing supplies within 3 days. This isn't a luxury item, it's infection prevention. No soap means small cuts turn septic. Dirty hands spread more illness faster than almost anything else you could name. Buy it right. A case of 96 bars from a wholesale food service supplier costs somewhere around $32 to $38, under 40 cents a bar. The same name brand bar at a regular retail store, about 250 cents each. That's a 500% markup for the identical product. And don't sleep on the barter angle. In prolonged disruptions, soap turns into currency. After Hurricane Maria, people were trading coffee, ammunition, even insulin, just to get their hands on hygiene supplies. It's needed by everyone, it doesn't spoil, and it holds real value. Store your bars stacked in a cool, dry bin. A year's supply for a family of 4 takes up less room than a shoebox. This isn't about smelling nice. It's about staying healthy when the clinic's closed, and every scrape is a gamble. Quick pause. If this is opening your eyes even a little, tap that like button, drop a comment telling me which item surprised you, and subscribe so you catch the next one. Now let's keep going. 4 unopened canning lids brand new, still sealed in the box. This is the quiet crisis nobody's talking about. Since 2023, canning lid shortages have been quietly wrecking home food preservation across the country. Rubber gasket shortages, shipping delays, and a surge in demand mean these things vanish every single summer, right when garden harvests and bulk produce deals hit their peak. I learned this lesson the hard way in August of 2024, stood in line at 3 different stores, shelves completely bare, and ended up paying $12 for a 6-pack on a local marketplace app, triple the going rate, all because I waited too long. Here's what most people don't know. Canning lids degrade even when they're never opened. Those rubber gaskets dry out and go brittle after 5 to 7 years sitting in storage. Once that happens, they won't seal properly. And suddenly your home canned tomatoes or green beans are either spoiled outright or, worse, a genuine botulism risk. That means you need to buy these now, while you still can, and buy plenty. A flat of 144 new lids runs about $25 to $28 through Amazon Warehouse, Lehman's, or Azure Standard, under 20 cents a lid. Grab them during a shortage panic, and you'll pay closer to $60 for the same flat. Storage matters just as much as buying. Never leave lids sitting in a hot garage or a damp basement. Heat and humidity speed up seal breakdown fast. Keep them airtight in a dark closet, ideally under 70 degrees. Write the purchase date on the box and rotate your stock every 5 years. And don't lean on reusable silicone lids for anything long-term. Those are fine for the fridge. But only metal lids with a proper vacuum seal give you shelf-stable safety for years at a time. This is bigger than convenience. It's food independence. When prices spike or shelves clear out, your ability to preserve a great bulk deal, say $25 for 50 pounds of green beans, hinges entirely on whether you have working lids ready to go. No lids, and your whole preservation plan falls apart. With them, you lock in nutrition and security for a few cents a jar. So check your stash today. If your lids are pushing 5+ years old, swap them out. If you've got fewer than 100 on hand, order more right now. Because come next summer, they might not be sitting on the shelf waiting for you. 5 hard red winter wheat berries, not soft wheat. Not the generic bag from the grocery aisle. You want hard red winter wheat, the drought-tolerant, protein-dense variety that keeps producing when other grains give up. With the current U.S. drought monitor showing extreme conditions rolling across Kansas, Nebraska, and the Dakotas, soft wheat yields have taken a nosedive, dropping roughly 30% in some of the biggest breadbasket counties. Hard red winter wheat handles harsh winters and dry spells far better. Think of it as insurance for 2026. You can find 50-pound bags for $30 to $35 through Azure Standard, Wheat Montana, or local co-ops. That's 60 to 70 cents a pound, less than half of what you'd pay for store-bought flour. And unlike flour, which goes rancid within 6 to 12 months as its natural fats oxidize, whole wheat berries can last 25 to 30 years when sealed properly in mylar with oxygen absorbers. Grind them fresh for nutrient-rich bread. Cook them whole like rice for a filling porridge. Sprout them in a jar to get fresh greens in the dead of winter, loaded with vitamin C right when your other supplies are running thin. You can even toast them dry in a skillet for a crunchy, nutty snack. It actually works. After the 2012 drought, preppers who'd stocked hard red wheat were eating well while everyone else was paying $8 a loaf. Today, with fertilizer costs up around 40% and rail delays getting worse, grain self-sufficiency isn't a nice-to-have anymore. You'll want a mill, though. Skip anything electric only. Get a dual hand crank/electric model, like a mock mill or a wonder mill, so you can still grind flour even when the power's out. One 50-pound bag of berries yields roughly 42 pounds of flour, enough for well over 80 loaves. At $4 a loaf retail, that's more than $300 of value out of a $35 bag. This isn't just calories. It's protein, fiber, and genuine self-reliance packed into one dense bag. Don't wait around for the next export ban or price spike. Get your hard red winter wheat now, store it correctly, and you'll be feeding your family for decades, not just months. 6 dried seaweed, kombu, and nori. This isn't sushi garnish. This is your iodine lifeline, and most preppers are walking around deficient without having a clue. Rice, beans, wheat, pasta, your core bulk staples, contain essentially zero iodine. Live on that diet for months, and your thyroid starts to slow down. Energy tanks. Your immune system weakens. Depression creeps in. In extreme prolonged cases, you can even see goiter, a condition most people think is a thing of the past. But it's quietly resurfacing in food-insecure communities after recent supply disruptions. Dried seaweed fixes this. A single sheet of nori delivers essentially your full day's iodine requirement. Drop a 1-inch piece of kombu into your bean pot and you're adding minerals, cutting down on gas, and enriching the broth with trace nutrients your stored food is otherwise missing. Buy in bulk. A 1-pound bag of kombu runs $14 to $18 through Azure Standard or Mountain Rose Herbs. Nori sheets go for about $20 per 100, under 20 cents a sheet. Store it airtight, away from light, and it holds up indefinitely. No fridge, no spoilage concerns. During last year's Pacific typhoon season, coastal preppers who'd stocked seaweed sailed through without thyroid trouble, while people relying on outside aid started showing textbook deficiency symptoms, fatigue, hair loss, brain fog. And it's not only iodine. Seaweed also packs selenium, magnesium, iron, and omega-3s, all of which get stripped out of processed, long shelf-life foods. Toss powdered kelp into soups, stews, even your morning oatmeal for a quiet nutritional boost. Skip the iodine pills that expire in 2 or 3 years. Nature's version basically doesn't expire and works itself right into your everyday cooking. This is the blind spot in nearly every stockpile out there. You can have 10 years of calories banked and still watch your body slowly break down without this one thing. Treat it like medicine, because functionally, that's exactly what it is. Grab kombu, grab nori, keep it dark and dry, and one small bag protects your family's metabolism and brain function for pennies a day. Don't wait for the symptoms to show up. Get ahead of it now. 7 waxed nylon dental floss. Forget the minty flavor. Skip the fancy shred-resistant marketing. What you want is plain, waxed nylon dental floss. The basic white spools sold at any drugstore or wholesale club. Why does this matter so much? Because in an actual crisis, this thin little thread turns into one of the most useful survival tools you own, and it's getting harder to find. Major manufacturers cut back floss production in 2024 due to global nylon resin shortages, and what's left is getting scalped for triple the price online, or simply vanishing during panic buying events. Here's what seasoned preppers already know. Floss is essentially ultra-strong cordage. One spool packs 55 yards of line rated above 30 pounds of tensile strength, stronger than paracord for its size, lighter than sewing thread, and waterproof thanks to the wax coating. Use it to stitch a deep wound when your medical tape's gone. Tie off an emergency splint. Repair torn gear. Set a small snare. Rig a makeshift fishing line with a bent pin. You can even use it as a bow drill string to start a fire. The wax coating grips wood almost like sinew. After Hurricane Helene tore through Appalachia in 2024, people were trading floss for coffee, batteries, even antibiotics. Why? Because everybody needs it, almost nobody stocks it, and it weighs practically nothing. A 12-pack runs around $8 in bulk. During a shortage, that same pack can hit $25 or more. Keep your spools dry and sealed. Heat and humidity break nylon down over time. Stash some in your everyday carry bag, your car, your bug-out kit. This isn't about dental hygiene. It's about having a reliable, multi-purpose fiber on hand when the supply chain fails. Paracord takes up space. Fishing line snaps under stress. Floss fits in your pocket, lasts for decades, and solves a dozen different problems at once. And here's the sneaky part. Nobody's raiding your medicine cabinet for dental floss. It's the last thing left standing when everything else has been picked clean. Grab a dozen spools. Then, grab 100. Keep them next to your medical kit, because when your jacket rips and the power's been out for a week, you're not going to wish you had more ammo. You're going to wish you had more floss. Quick reminder, if you're finding this useful, smash that like button, leave a comment with your own overlook prep item, and hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. All right, let's keep moving. 8 restaurant-grade heavy-duty aluminum foil, not the flimsy 12-inch roll sitting in your grocery cart. You want 18-inch wide, 12 2mm thick restaurant-grade foil, sold in 500 or 1,000-foot rolls. This isn't about wrapping up leftovers. It's a genuine multi-purpose survival material that does more than people give it credit for. Start with emergency cooking. Line a cardboard box with foil, drop in some coals, and you've built yourself a solar oven that hits 300F. Wrap food directly for mess-free, pan-free campfire cooking. Next, water collection. Shape a sheet into a funnel or trough to direct rainwater into your containers. The foil's non-porous surface keeps contamination and evaporation to a minimum. Then there's EMP and signal protection. Wrap spare radios, flashlights, or storage drives in 3 layers of foil, and you've built a basic Faraday cage that shields against electromagnetic interference. Thermal regulation is another win. Tape foil to your windows to bounce heat away in summer, or line a sleeping pad with it in winter to reflect your own body heat back at you. A trick homeless survivalists relied on during the brutal Midwest cold snap in 2024. And don't forget signaling. Buff a sheet with a cloth, and it becomes a mirror bright enough to be seen for miles. Buy it correctly. A 5-pound, 1,000-foot roll runs $42 to $48 from a restaurant supply outlet. Buy the same total footage in retail boxes, and you'll pay over $120 for narrower, flimsier foil. A markup of about 200%. It never expires, never rusts, never breaks down. Store it upright somewhere dry, and it takes up less room than a folded sleeping bag. When the Texas grid buckled in 2024, families lined tents with foil to trap heat, while natural gas service was down. Others used it to build a basic water still. This is about as dense as prepping gets. One single roll replaces cookware, a signal kit, radiation shielding, and water gathering tools. Never underestimate a thin sheet of metal. Buy the roll, not the little box. Get it now. 9 sublingual methylcobalamin, not the cheap cyanocobalamin tablets from the drugstore. You want methylcobalamin, the active, ready-to-use form of B12 that your body can actually put to work when it's stressed, depleted, and running mostly on stored grains. Here's the danger most people miss entirely. A long-term diet heavy in rice, beans, and wheat blocks, proper B12 absorption. Without it, nerve damage sets in quietly. Tingling in your hands, brain fog, exhaustion, low mood. Left unchecked long enough, it can cause permanent neurological damage. After the Canadian rail strikes in 2023, isolated households living off bulk staples developed B12 deficiencies so severe that clinics were reporting mystery illnesses that only resolved once high-dose supplementation started. Methylcobalamin skips digestion entirely. Place it under your tongue, and it absorbs straight into your bloodstream, which matters a lot when your gut health is already compromised by stress, poor diet, or sketchy water. Buy it in bulk, A bottle of 360 sublingual lozenges at 5,000 micrograms each runs $22 to $25 during a sale. A 2-year supply for one person at under 3 cents a dose. Store it in the fridge or a cool, dark drawer and it stays effective years past the printed expiration date. Don't wait for symptoms to show up. By the time you notice something's off, the damage may already be underway. This isn't a wellness add-on. It's neurological insurance. And here's the part people overlook. Unlike meat, eggs, or dairy, sources of B12 that spoil or disappear the moment supply chains hiccup, this supplement is compact, shelf-stable, and impossible to hunt or grow. You either plan for it or you don't. Pair it with a multivitamin. But don't rely on the multivitamin alone. Most contain the weaker cyanocobalamin form at doses too low to matter. Check your supplement shelf today. No methylcobalamin? Order it. Already got some? Double it. In a long emergency, your nervous system is one of your most valuable assets. Protect it now. 10 sodium ascorbate. Skip the regular ascorbic acid. That sharp stomach-burning powder is rough on your gut, especially if you're already living on stored grains and beans. Sodium ascorbate is the buffered, gentle, highly absorbable version of vitamin C that prevents scurvy without the nausea, ulcers, or diarrhea. Scurvy isn't some old-timey disease. Recent public health reports confirm dozens of cases in food-insecure U.S. communities living off shelf-stable carbs with zero fresh produce for months at a time. Bleeding gums, wounds that won't heal, joint pain, bone-deep fatigue that makes it impossible to function. All of it reversible with consistent vitamin C intake. Sodium ascorbate gives you bioavailable vitamin C with none of the acidity. A 1/4 teaspoon dissolved in water tastes mild and absorbs fast. It also works as a strong antioxidant, giving your immune system a boost during flu season or a waterborne illness outbreak. Buy it in bulk. A 1-pound bag runs $20 to $24 from a supplement retailer, giving you over 450 doses at under 5 cents each. Store it in an airtight glass jar somewhere dark and cool, and it holds its potency for 3 to 5 years. Compare that to overpriced gummy vitamins that expire within a year and pack 50 milligrams of sugar per dose. Or fresh citrus, which rots within days and disappears entirely once winter hits. During recent Midwest flooding, households with sodium ascorbate on hand avoided the respiratory infections that tore through shelters simply because their immune systems had what they needed to fight back. This isn't a supplement, it's nutritional armor. And it pulls double duty. Vitamin C boosts iron absorption, which matters a lot if your diet is light on red meat. Pair it with your beans or wheat porridge, and you get more nutrition out of every single bite. Skip the flashy bottles and the natural orange flavor markup. Buy pure sodium ascorbate in bulk. Because when fresh produce disappears, your body isn't going to care how it tastes. It's going to care whether it works. Halfway through check-in, like this video if it's landing. Comment with the item you're grabbing first, and subscribe so the next breakdown lands in your feed. Onward. 11 cast iron cookware. Bought secondhand, seasoned and stacked. This has nothing to do with looking rustic on Instagram. This is about permanent, fuel-agnostic cooking capability, and you absolutely do not need to pay retail for it. The smart play is buying pre-seasoned cast iron secondhand, estate sales, thrift shops, marketplace apps, farm auctions. I picked up 3 solid pieces last fall for $60 total, a 10-inch skillet, a 5-quart Dutch oven, and a griddle. New. That same haul would have run me over $300. Why bulk up on cast iron specifically? Because it lasts generations, works over an open fire, propane, induction, or a wood stove, and adds dietary iron to whatever you cook in it. A real bonus if your diet is short on red meat. Non-stick coatings break down under high heat. Stainless needs careful oil and even heating. Cast iron thrives in exactly the chaotic conditions where other cookware fails. After the 2024 grid failure in the Pacific Northwest, families with cast iron were cooking hot meals for weeks straight, while everyone else was eating cold beans out of a can. One Dutch oven alone can boil water, bake bread, fry fish, and simmer a stew, no electricity required. Maintenance is dead simple. No soap, just hot water and a stiff brush. Dry it immediately. Rub in a thin layer of oil and store it somewhere dry. Rust shows up? Scrub it out with vinegar, re-season with flaxseed oil, and it's basically brand new again. Here's the urban prepper angle most people miss. Cast iron is dense, not bulky. One skillet does the job of a pot, a pan, a baking sheet, and a grill all at once. Stack them, store them, and they'll take up less room than a microwave. Thrift stores are constantly clearing out old inventory, and estate sales are loaded with heirloom quality pieces. Grab more than one while you still can. Because in an actual emergency, turning stored wheat into hot bread or dried beans into real stew comes down to one thing: a pan that refuses to quit. 12 Ferrocerium rods. Forget lighters. Forget matches. What you want is a Ferrocerium rod, the spark-throwing alloy that keeps working long after everything else has failed you. One rod is good for over 10,000 strikes, even soaked, frozen, or buried in ash. Lighters leak fuel. Matches fall apart the second they get damp. Ferro rods just don't quit. They're weatherproof and dead reliable. During the 2024 Montana wildfire evacuations, preppers carrying ferro rods were boiling water, cooking food, and staying warm, while people relying on lighters were stuck useless in high winds and damp conditions. Each strike throws sparks around 5,000 F, hot enough to light tinder, charcloth, or even damp bark. Pair it with petroleum jelly-soaked cotton balls or dry birch bark, and you've got a fire going in under 30 seconds, anywhere, anytime. Buy in bulk. A 10-pack of 2-inch rods runs $15 to $18 from a survival supplier, under $2 per lifetime fire starter. Fancy tactical versions with rubber grips run $12 a piece for the same core rod, triple the markup for no real benefit. Keep rods in your pocket, your glove box, your bug-out bag, your kitchen drawer. They weigh almost nothing, take up no space, and never expire. Pro tip: strike it with the spine of a fixed blade knife or a dedicated scraper, not a flimsy multi-tool, at a 45-degree angle, scraping fast so the sparks rain down onto your tinder nest. This isn't bushcraft cosplay, it's basic human resilience. Fire means warmth, light, purified water, cooked food, and morale. In an extended outage, fire is civilization compressed into your hand. Don't gamble your survival on a flame that flickers out in the wind. Grab a pack, then grab a second one. Hand one to your spouse, one to your kid, tape one to your water filter. When the lights go out for good, fire won't be a nice to have. It'll be the thing keeping you alive. 13 food-grade diatomaceous earth. This isn't the stuff you throw in a pool filter. You want food-grade diatomaceous earth, DE, a fine white powder made from fossilized algae, safe for humans and animals, and far more useful than most people realize. First, grain and legume protection. Mix 1 to 2 tablespoons into a 5-gallon bucket of wheat, rice, or beans, and DE dehydrates weevils, moths, and larvae on contact. No chemicals, no oxygen absorbers required, and unlike bay leaves or dry ice, it doesn't lose effectiveness over time. Second, water filtration. In an emergency, layering DE into a sand filter traps bacteria, protozoa, and fine sediment, clearing up muddy water before you boil or chemically treat it. After recent Mississippi River flooding, off-grid families used DE-based sand filters to clarify river water in a matter of minutes. Third, parasite control. Taken internally, 1 teaspoon a day in water, food-grade DE gently scrubs the digestive tract and can help clear out intestinal parasites. A genuine risk if your food or water supply has been compromised. Livestock owners have leaned on this for generations. It works just as well for people. Fourth, non-toxic pest control. Dust it along baseboards to take out ants, roaches, and bedbugs without exposing kids or pets to poison. Buy it right. A 5-pound bag runs $14 to $18 from a Azure Standard, Tractor Supply, or a garden supply store. Keep it in an airtight bucket, and as long as it stays dry, it never expires. This isn't some trendy wellness fad. It's practical, century-old technology that homesteaders and farmers have relied on forever, and almost no modern prepper bothers to stock it. Everyone's hoarding rice and bleach while DE sits ignored on the shelf, quietly solving problems nothing else can touch. Add it to your pantry. Dust your grain buckets. Filter your water. Protect your gut. Because in a long-term disruption, the smallest, cheapest powder can end up delivering the biggest peace of mind. 14 bonus. Powdered milk. Here's one almost nobody mentions, and it's a glaring hole in most stockpiles: calcium and usable protein. Rice, beans, and wheat cover your calories, but they leave you short on the nutrients your bones and muscles actually need over the long haul. Instant non-fat powdered milk fills that gap. A single serving delivers roughly the same calcium and protein as a glass of fresh milk, without refrigeration and without spoiling in days. Buy it in a 10 can or a bulk bag from a wholesale supplier, and properly sealed with an oxygen absorber, it can last 15 to 20 years. Use it to whiten coffee, mix into porridge, bake into bread, or reconstitute for drinking straight. It stretches a lot further than people expect. A 25-pound bag runs around $60 to $70 through a bulk food supplier, working out to a fraction of what you'd pay buying fresh milk over the same stretch of time, with none of the spoilage risk. Store it cool, dry, and sealed, and rotate it into your baking rotation so it never just sits there going unused. If your stockpile is heavy on grains and beans, but light on calcium, this is the gap you need to close. 15 bonus, duct tape. Everybody thinks they've already got this one covered. Most people don't, because most people are stocking the thin, cheap rolls that fall apart in heat or cold within a season. You want industrial-grade cloth duct tape, the kind rated for actual construction and automotive use. This stuff patches a leaking roof, seals a cracked water container, holds a splint in place, repairs torn tent fabric, and reinforces boots that are falling apart on you in the field. It seals up drafty windows in winter and can even be fashioned into cordage in a pinch, strand by strand, if your floss and paracord run out. A single roll of quality industrial tape runs about $8 to $10 wholesale versus $15 to $18 for a name brand version at retail. And it isn't just about price. It's about the cheap stuff failing exactly when you need it most. Store rolls somewhere temperature stable. Extreme heat turns the adhesive gummy, and extreme cold makes it brittle and useless. Keep a roll in every bag, every vehicle, every toolbox. It's not glamorous, it just works, every single time, which is really all you can ask for out of a $2 a roll fix-anything tool.